Today on Community Cooking, we have guest Vandana Sheth back in our kitchen. Today's Indian-inspired menu includes scrambled tofu with veggies and a fragrant Indian spiced tea. We're cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community, so grab a seat and relax. We have another great menu for you. This is your Community Cooking. Welcome to Community Cooking. I'm your host, Maria Prekagis, and I'm always excited to have this lady who I can call friend, Vandana Sheth, with us. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me here.
You always make such bright dishes, and they're obviously so, it's educational for me, and they're so nutritious, but we decided to go bright with our clothing today, too.
I do. I love this combination.
I like it. It's our energy, and especially your personality.
Thank you.
So before we get cooking, it's a vegetarian menu, but you are a registered dietitian.
I am. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, and I love helping my clients enjoy their favorite meals without compromising their health.
I really want to dive into different vegetables and why they're good for you. So what are the ingredients?
Okay, so the tofu scramble is my version. It's Indianized because I've added Indian spices to it. And so we have some oil. You can choose the oil that you'd like to use. I've got some cumin seeds. I've got turmeric. I've got garam masala, and I'll go into what that is in a little bit. There's red chili powder. Use as much as you'd like or skip it.
For me, lots.
I've got some tofu, and what's interesting is with tofu you can buy it in different textures, so soft, firm, extra firm. I usually like to get the extra firm, but it still has a lot of water. So if you're using in recipes where you don't want the water, you want to make sure you drain it. And so that's what I'm doing with extra paper towels.
Okay.
And then I use different colorful bell peppers because they just look so visually pretty, and there are some great nutritional benefits to it. Spinach, and you can use fresh spinach. But as we have this conversation, it takes a lot more spinach to get to this size.
Yeah.
And so I always have a bag of frozen spinach in my freezer. So I just literally defrosted it, and it's ready to go into this recipe. It's 1 pound of spinach going right there, of frozen spinach.
And you know how much spinach this would take from fresh spinach? So I know I was always in charge of draining the spinach for my mom when she made spanakopita pizza. You'd push it down and drain it. She just wanted to keep me busy and out of her hair, let's be honest. But, and then
of course,
mushrooms.
Mushrooms are amazing. They have a lot of, actually they can have vitamin D, and especially if they are done with ultraviolet rays. And so when you look at mushrooms in the store, look at the label. If it says provides vitamin D, it's just gone through that extra radiation. That's healthy for us if we're getting vitamin D in a plant-based food, otherwise very minimally available.
Well, there's so many different types of mushrooms, and I mean, there are some really fancy ones that are all squiggly, and I would never know what to do with them, but, a basic mushroom's okay?
Any mushroom is good, and they actually have a lot of umami flavor. Umami is what now we are using as the fifth sense, so we have different tastes. We have the sweet, sour, bitter, salty, but umami is the term given by scientists in the early 1900s, and they found that that triggers this joy in our brain. It's almost like a party, and we feel good. So when you think about certain meals, why you go back for more and more food, it's because there was a lot of umami in that food. And if you're vegetarian, you're trying to eat vegetarian, mushrooms can give you that texture that you might otherwise miss out.
Is that why I like mushrooms so much? I eat them like candy.
I love mushrooms.
I have to say peppers, green peppers are not my favorite.
Okay.
And all the others, of course, are more expensive, but you get everything at the farmer's market, which is great all the way around.
And so with mushrooms, if you don't like green, go for the other colors, and they are actually very low in calories. They have a lot of water, almost 92% water.
Wow.
And especially the red bell peppers are an excellent source of vitamin C. So that's something I usually suggest that my clients just cut it up into strips and have it as a snack. You're looking for that crunch, but you don't need the extra calories. You're getting vegetables in.
Much better than chips. And I always give this tip. Instead of like a ranch dip, I do the ranch spices or do my own spices in Greek non-fat yogurts.
Nice.
It's so good. And then you get your protein, too.
Right. And I usually do it with hummus.
Oh, same thing. No, right? I love all of those, can be good for you. So, and then all the different spices, and we're going to talk about the properties they provide as well. But you started chopping already, but we're going to chop some more. What do we need more of?
So we need more mushrooms, and I'm going to add some more red pepper,
Okay.
because I know you said you're not a big fan of
I
the
mean,
grain.
I can eat the green, but I
know.
think, weirdly enough, I think the flavoring, look at, I just gave it right over to you.
So what
the
I'll
red I
do
like.
is I'm actually going to start cooking.
Okay.
So I'm adding some oil.
I'm just going to sit and eat mushrooms because you told me they were good for me.
They are really good for you. They have vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and there's some research that's looking at it can be good for brain health.
Oh, well, there you have it.
It's
The crew's
delicious.
going, she doesn't need any mushrooms. She needs more. Well, there are always so many new studies coming out. How do you keep up with everything?
You know, it's an amazing field to be at, but it's also something that's constantly evolving. And so it's a science. And so it's important to pay attention to the studies. It's important to see how big the study is, who is funding the study, and are there multiple studies done? Just one small study is not necessarily the gold standard. So we wanted to compare studies. Yes, it's intriguing if there's a new study with good data, but let's see multiple studies, large studies, to really buy into that, whatever that thesis
Well,
is.
and on that note, you know, there are a lot of different fad diets, and you have to do this, and I lost 40 pounds doing this. But a lot of these, I'm going to call them fad diets, have not been around that long, so you don't know the long-term effect. Where this kind of food has been, or Mediterranean-style diet, it's around for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Exactly, you know, and it's real food. It's food that just is available so easily, and we're so fortunate to live in California with wonderful farmers markets. And if you feel like you can't get around to chopping and prepping, go ahead and get the pre-cut vegetables. Go ahead and get the frozen vegetables. It's okay, because you're still getting the nutrition.
And like we said, you'd have to have, 10 pounds of spinach to get this much spinach. It's amazing when I do spinach, everyone's like, oh, it's so much, and then it whittles down to nothing.
Shrivels to nothing, yeah.
No.
And so I added some cumin seeds.
Okay.
And I'm just waiting for that to roast a little bit, maybe like a few seconds.
That's a heavy-duty pan, too. I like it. So here's my other question. I mean, the farmer's market has great prices, like I said, but why are the green ones less expensive? Why?
You know,
I
it
need
takes,
to know these things.
So actually, if you've taken a green pepper and if you've let it sit on the shelf, have you noticed that it starts changing
Yeah,
color?
I was going to say, because they're the baby ones, and you can just
Right.
get them more often.
And
That
so it
takes
just
long.
takes longer.
I love it. And I think some people, I used to be afraid of working with tofu, but the extra firm, I call it the super duper firm, really makes a difference.
And tofu, really, the main thing is it's a blank canvas. It can take on any flavor profile you like. And so today we're making it with more Indian spices, but you could throw it into a stir fry and have Asian sauces in there. You could
Which is one of
crumble
my
it.
favorite. No offense to
Asian?
you, Indians, but no.
Hey,
Or my
India
Greek
is part of the
heritage.
Asian continent.
Yeah, it is. But no, so I've been working with tofu more.
That's great. And tofu is really known, soy in general, has been known to have lots of benefits. Again, as far as cancer prevention, heart disease, diabetes. So it's a good protein source to apply into your meal plan, into your lifestyle. And you can add it to anything. You can add it to smoothies. You can add it to...
See, which I never knew. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's so easy. It takes on the flavor of anything. So
I love it.
add
It
more
really
flavor.
does. I like fried tofu. Oops.
Okay.
But it's good cut into chunks.
Oh, yeah.
Once in a while.
Sure. I'm waiting for this to heat up more because I want it to be really hot.
You can really smell that.
Onions?
Those spices already.
And
See, I had an argument once. Someone's like, mushrooms aren't healthy for you at all. It's just dry air. And I'm like, no, there's something good about them. So now I have some,
yes, yes.
I have a comeback to that.
No, mushrooms are excellent.
Well, and pretty much all veggies. I'm lucky. I love vegetables. I even like Brussels sprouts. I used to hide them in my milk when I was little, but because they would boil them and be bland, and it's all
yeah.
about spices. And you have such the gift, especially for turning vegetarian dishes into great tasting dishes with just spices, and it's simple.
It really is. And with Brussels sprouts, what's interesting is you mentioned boiled, right?
Yeah.
That's why people got turned off. But if you roast them,
Roasted with a teeny bit of oil
so good.
changes your world.
Yeah, and you could also actually shave Brussels sprouts and
Yes.
have it as a salad base instead of lettuce. Works really well.
I mean, I like them even whole, a little balsamic vinegar on it, a little olive oil, salt and pepper. I'm like, I'm done. But I'm lucky because, some of my family members are like, you couldn't make me eat a vegetable. They only do it because they know it's good for them. They don't enjoy it. But I think creating them and cooking them a certain way is how you educate everyone is really the way to go. Now, question, would this, you say scramble, so I think breakfast. Was this good for any time of the day?
It can be good anytime. And so when we do the styling, I'm going to show you a few different ways to do it.
Fun.
So if it's scrambled for breakfast, you can always have it in a bowl, just as is. It's a complete option. Or you could have it with some toast on the side.
Okay.
Or you could put it in like a hamburger bun or English muffin and have it like a sandwich. You could put it inside a pita pocket.
Ooh, that'd be good.
You could put it in a tortilla and wrap it up and have it as a wrap. So many different options.
Well, and another good friend of ours, Chef, says, you know, you eat with your eyes first. And
Exactly.
with all your beautiful colors, it's always like, oh, that's inviting. I might want to try that.
So I did add some jalapenos.
Oh, just for me.
Just for you.
You kept the seeds in.
I did.
I love it.
So I got the jalapeno in. I'm going to add some peppers next.
Peppers are, I mean, red peppers, that and grape tomatoes, I just eat like candy.
Nice.
Which is probably better because I could just eat candy. But I know it's a heck of a lot better.
And so if you look at it, that's just so pretty.
Oh, it's
I love the
gorgeous.
colors.
Oh, and the smell is delightful.
And we're going to add our mushrooms in.
And the amount of oil you used was very little.
It is. It's about a teaspoon per person having a dish. So this has maybe about a tablespoon because I'm obviously making more. So everyone here can taste some.
And you know why I like a lot of vegetarian dishes? It's all about portion, which I want to get into with you. But you can have more vegetables.
You can.
You have a whole plate full, a whole pile full.
You
if they're
absolutely
done
can.
right and they're not a million calories.
No, no. So 1 cup of raw vegetables has maybe 25 calories. 1 teaspoon of oil could have 45 calories.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but it's not just calories. You're talking about the nutrition profile.
Yes.
We do need oil. We need some heart healthy fats. We need the vegetables more, not just for the calories, but the fiber, the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants. And they have fiber, so that fills you up, so you don't need as much.
I think people forget about fiber and how important it is in their diet.
True. Actually, the average American gets maybe about 14 grams fiber a day, and the recommendation is close to 25 grams per day. But that's easy on a vegetarian diet.
Oh yeah, you get it and you do feel full.
Yeah, like 1 cup of raspberries has 8 grams fiber.
I didn't realize raspberries had that much fiber. I
They
love it.
do. And then many of the vegetables have a lot of fiber. Sorry, if you see me go around here, I just want to make sure nothing is burning over.
Oh yeah. Oh, it smells good. And you do. Besides our outfits being in color, your food's always in color.
Thank you. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my spinach.
Now, I still love spinach. Kale's big. What are your thoughts on kale? It's hard to work with sometimes. You have to massage it or cook it.
You do, or you could get baby kale. I don't know if
Okay.
you've tried that because that's much more tender.
Yes.
And so that works well. But there's nothing wrong with spinach. Spinach is an excellent green.
Look at Popeye's muscles. Woohoo!
It is an excellent source of iron. It's got other vitamins and minerals. One interesting tip about iron, or iron from plant-based sources, is when you have something like spinach, if you have something that's acidic or high in vitamin C, your body is going to absorb almost 6 times more iron from that food.
See, and that's a whole thing that we haven't even touched upon, but combining foods like that, and you obviously did all the schooling, you can eat it plain and it helps, but if you eat it with something else and you absorb it
That much
better into
more.
your system, yeah.
Exactly.
That's why we need people like you in our lives.
Thank you. So if you think about it, when I talked about vitamin C, so the spinach is high in iron, and I added lots of bell peppers, high in vitamin C,
Yes.
so we're enhancing the nutrition that's in this one dish.
I love it. And then we add the tofu right at the end.
Exactly, because it doesn't really need to cook, but I want the flavors to blend.
Yeah.
So we added that. Now I want to add my spices. So let's talk about our spices.
Yes, and the nutritional value and what they do.
Yep. And so the first one I'm going to add is turmeric. And so turmeric is now very popular.
Yes.
And the chemical or the compound that's in it is called curcumin. And this is mainly known for its anti-inflammatory benefits.
I take turmeric pills.
Well, I like it in my food.
No, I do too. But if I have to supplement and they're pure, you have to get the right
Sure.
stuff. You just can't get a pill that, vitamin has a bunch of stuff. But no,
But
it's big.
It is. And what's interesting is they've been looking at it for memory, for brain health, for lots of benefits, but it's been around for centuries in Indian cooking. So that's something I grew up with. What I like is it adds that beautiful golden hue to food.
Yes.
So it's an easy way to get that color. Next thing I'm adding is something called garam masala.
Yeah. I can picture it on a spice label.
Yes, and so literally what it means is garam means hot in Hindi, and masala means mixture. So it's hot spice mixture. And so it has, it has a combination of cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, black pepper potentially. So it depends. Each family has their own version.
Yes.
So this is my recipe, and that's in my cookbook. So,
Which as soon as you add the last spice, we're going to talk about that.
perfect. And I'm going to add a little bit of red chili, not much, because we added the jalapenos in there.
Yes, I do like it hot, but we don't need to
No. And
kill me today.
No, and the tofu is bland, so it's going to take on these flavors. And if you don't feel like the red chili pepper, you can just skip it.
Okay.
Okay. Next, we're going to add our tofu. And so if you notice, I've been draining this for a while, and it's still pretty wet.
I like it. You don't have to cut it.
Nope.
Oh, look at that. You just
Look at all
squeeze
that
it, get
water.
more. That's crazy. I forget how much water tofu has.
And since this is a scramble that we will be using in a sandwich or in a bowl, I don't want to have too much water in there.
And that had been draining for a while, but there's
has.
still a lot.
Okay, so that's it. You just break it up.
No, I thought you were going to cut it into pretty cubes. No, it's a scramble. Break it up, throw it in.
And so I'm going to let you stir this while I wash my hands.
Okay, perfect. Here, I'll take all that
Okay,
away.
thank you.
So, people, if you're afraid of tofu, don't be. Don't be afraid of... Oh, there. I will
Thank
let
you.
you continue. I let Vandana do the heavy lifting, don't you know? And look at you, right, the turmeric. Look at the color.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, I love it. And you can plate this a million different ways.
Exactly, and we'll get to that. And so I'm just going to add my salt.
And again, there's so many different salts. You're like, just use salt you like.
Use the salt you like whenever you can. Flavor it up with other things so you don't have to use as much salt.
Which is good. We need a little salt, but I think most Americans, and you could give me this, eat way too much salt.
We do, and we don't think about it. It's not just from the addition of salt we add to our food, but even a lot of the foods naturally come with sodium if you look at the labels.
Especially in restaurants. I mean, you can order healthy in a lot of restaurants, but I love it when people get their meal and they salt it before they taste it. I'm like, what is that all about? But everyone does it. A lot of people. I shouldn't say everyone.
That's true.
I'm like, can you taste it first? I mean, I have to say my boyfriend, before he tastes anything, puts pepper on because he loves a ton of pepper. So that I get. But I'm like, honey, taste it first. I'm not that bad of a cook.
I'm sure you're
Debatable. I actually cook a lot, and we're not vegetarian by any means, but I do a lot of fish and a lot of tofu these days. And I do that because of you. And now that you have a cookbook, you can share it not just on the show, but with everyone. What was the inspiration behind the cookbook?
Well, it was clients, friends, and family. Everyone always asked me for recipes. And so when I'd share a recipe and it turned out great, they'd say, oh, when are you going to write a book? And so finally, I chose to write a book. It took me a couple years, starting from the idea to finishing. And I just released it. And what's fun is it's a passion project. It shares my heritage, talks about Indian cooking, recipes, and every recipe has a colorful picture. So it's beautiful.
Because all your food is so colorful.
Thank you. And the goal is, again, to make it approachable, make it easy for anyone here to go to the store, pick a few of the ingredients, and make it.
And this way, when you have a zillion people asking you for recipes, you don't have to go, okay, I'll email them all individually. It's all in one book, people.
Yes, and all the recipes we are doing in today's show are in the book.
I love it. Well, we're going to let that cook just for a little bit more. We're going to take a quick break, and then some sort of tea?
Yes.
I'm assuming it's good for you.
It is, and it's tasty, and it's very popular here at most coffee shops. People think of it as chai latte, but really it came from India.
I love it. Well, don't go anywhere. We have lots more coming up. You're watching Community Cooking.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Maria Prekajis, and we're with Vandana, Sheth. And you just made a delicious looking, because I haven't tasted it yet, tofu scramble.
Yes.
tofu, and you presented it. We'll show you in a minute, all different ways. Now we're going on to some tea.
Yes, so it's a fragrant Indian spice tea. Traditionally, it's called chai masala, and chai is the Indian term for tea, any black tea. Masala is where you get all the spices.
Okay.
And so each family has their own version of making this.
I love it.
But so typically you usually start with water and milk, and you can use plant-based beverage if you choose instead of dairy.
Okay.
But I have used water and milk, and I've already boiled it. And you do need to boil it, and boil it with some black tea.
Okay.
And so either loose tea or black tea bags,
Okay.
your choice. And
I
so,
like the black tea bags. Easier.
Exactly. So I've got about 4 tea bags here
Okay.
with the water and milk boiling. And then we're going to add these spices.
I love it. So tell me about the spices before you add them.
Yep. So these are just a sample of the black tea bags.
Okay.
This is minced ginger.
In tea, I love it.
Yeah. And then this is star anise. It adds a really nice fragrance.
I love how oh, yeah. It's not a clove.
No.
It's better.
And then these are cardamom pods right
Okay.
here. This is cloves,
I'm familiar with those.
cinnamon sticks.
Okay.
And so this is crushed cardamom.
All right.
So
you
we're just going to add all of that in.
I love ginger in the tea because I love ginger anywhere. So, and I like how, yeah, the star. I wonder where they got that name. Funny thing. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
So normally you would just have water and milk boiling. You would add everything in there.
Okay.
And if you were making this often, one idea is to actually make this mixture of spices and have it all ground up. And that's called chai masala. And so at home, I usually have a nice mixture of all these spices roasted and crushed up. And I have a recipe for how to make chai masala in my book.
In her cookbook. We are so excited.
And that's it. So all those ingredients are in here, and you bring it to a boil.
And that's it. Easy.
That's it.
It's just about the ingredients, which you guide people through where you can find them, and they're easy to find.
They
really are.
They are. Most of these can be available at a regular grocery store. Before you had to go to an ethnic market.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I love it. So what are the nutritional properties to this type of tea?
Well, it's very warming, right? When you think about it, ginger, it can provide a lot of heat. Ginger is known for helping you with nausea. Cloves, same thing. And cardamom has some iron, manganese. It has some fiber. Cinnamon, some research shows that it can help with your insulin be more sensitive. So it can help with blood sugar regulation. So lots of interesting spice mixes that have nutritional benefits, but also make food flavorful, aromatic, and tasty.
And they do make decaf black teas now. They make decaf everything because I'm more of a decaf girl mainly.
Yes.
But
Yep, you could easily substitute for a decaf tea. And if you completely want to skip out the caffeine, you could use a basic black, green tea or something that has like an herbal tea. There's rooibos that doesn't have any caffeine.
I love that. That's one of my go-tos.
Yeah, so there are many options, but a traditional Indian chai latte, this is how it's made.
And it smells good, and I'm sure it tastes delicious. Now, you have some mint. Do you add that?
I
Or
did.
sugar cubes if you want?
Yes, so you could do either. My mom's favorite thing to do was to add mint. We had mint growing in the yard, and she'd go out and pick it up, and it just adds this extra fragrance to the tea. So we're going to add some mint. As far as the sugar goes, traditionally, again, it is made sweet, so you can add as much sweetness as you want with either sugar or an artificial sweetener, or you can skip it completely.
Okay. Oh, I love it. And it smells so good. And about how long do you keep it boiling for?
You actually want it just to come to one boil, and sometimes if you like it stronger, then you boil it more so that the tea really infuses into the water and milk. But this looks pretty good. It's like a light.
And you use water
Version.
and milk, not just milk. And that thins it out a little as well, because a lot of people
does.
don't like. I actually discovered milk for tea not so long ago. I'm like, oh, this is really good in it.
It is.
And I like soy milk a lot, or almond, or even I can drink dairy, so I like my
Any
regular
of
milk.
those work just as well. And if you don't want that combination of half and half, you could go 3/4 of water and just add the beverage, whatever choice that is, at the tail end.
But you have to have a cute tea kettle. That thing's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, that's mandatory. You got to look good while you're making tea.
And so I'm going to go ahead and, are you okay with
Yeah, oh,
sweetener?
I'm good with sweet.
Okay, so usually I go with like 1 cube or 1 serving of sweetener per person having it. I've made 4 cups. And
So we put 4.
I put 4.
It's not just for feeding the horses, the sugar cube. It's for your tea. And then do you put the mint as a garnish?
You could. I'm actually going to go ahead and add it here,
Okay.
just
And
because.
you put a little water in that.
Just to, because the leaves were starting to wilt.
Okay.
And that'll rehydrate it.
that makes sense. Little plant, add water. Look at that. I love
There
mint
you
in
go.
anything. So
That
just
is-
add that.
Do you smell that?
Oh,
It
smells
so good.
so good. All the spice. I would never think. I mean, you can go to a coffee place and I just get a soy chai tea latte. But this is, wow. And like you said, there are a lot of nutritional benefits. Everything you make has nutritional benefits.
Thank you.
You're in the right business.
Thank you. I love what I do.
I love it. Well, we're going to just let that simmer a teeny bit, and when we get back, I get to taste the tofu scramble and the tea. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Community Cooking.
These are the moments that bring us to our feet. The anticipation, the tradition, the foul ball, the 15 seconds of fame, the big catch, the game-winning home run. But the most important moment happens when we all stand together.
Join us as we stand up to show our support for loved ones affected by cancer.
Visit standuptocancer.org/MLB.
Stand up with us.
Stand up with us.
Stand up with us.
Stand up with us.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. All right, Vandana, first off, we have your cookbook.
Thank you.
I love doing that. But my favorite part of the show, we're going to taste Tofu Scramble.
Yes.
You wouldn't know that's not like scrambled eggs, number one. But all the spices with the veggie, wow.
You like it, huh?
That is yummy. I can't even describe it, but it's so yummy. And I love how you put it in a bowl or a pita pocket, little avocado on the side.
Exactly. So you get the whole grains, you got the protein, you got the veggies, you got some heart healthy fats. It's a perfect combination.
I love that's really yummy. All right, cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Here's to your tea.
Thank you.
It's not just chai tea, people. Oh, okay. The mint
Yeah, it adds
is just like a surprise at the end.
and that was my mom's trick.
Was
She
it?
always added some mint, and no one else did in our family. So that was pretty cool.
Did you go around to different family homes and you're like, well, I have mint. Well, mine's better. I can just see all the ladies going, oh, this is lovely. Mine's better. That's what my mother would have done. But with the spices in it, but it's not too much. No, that mint, your mother did it right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. I always love having you here. It's such a ball.
Thank you. I had a great time.
And I learned a lot too. And remember to try all these recipes at home because we really do have some of the best chefs right here in our own community that have cookbooks.
Thank you,
On
Maria.
behalf of Vandana, myself, and the entire crew, thank you for watching another episode of Community Cooking, and we'll see you next time. That's yummy.
Isn't that good?
Ooh, I tell you, yeah, you're measuring so fine.
If you'd like a copy of the recipes seen on this show, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Office of Cable and Community Relations. That's 3350 Civic Center Drive, Suite 200, in Torrance, California, 90503. Be sure to note the show number displayed on the screen. And don't forget you can find all the fresh ingredients used on today's show at the Farmers Market. Visit the one here in Torrance at Wilson Park. That's located at 2200 Crenshaw Boulevard. They're open every Tuesday and Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., rain or shine. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at communitycooking@torranceca.gov and check us out online at youtube.com/TorranceCityCable and like us on Facebook at Community Cooking TV.